Internet! I hope you can see me. I am trying out something new with this Streamlab phone to computer combo. I don't know if you can see me, so please do let me know in the live chat if this is working. I am very, very hopeful that this is a thing. I'm clicking over and dealing with new attempts at how to make this work. I'm potentially very excited. Guys, there is a lot to talk about, even in all the madness of the world. Yes, it is working. I am so excited. Oh, man. Okay, so I figured out a new way to set this all up, which means I can send out a link earlier than, yeah, this is working. I'm very excited. I can now build the page, send out a link, and you guys will have a link instead of just my whole subscription thing. Huzzah! Okay, guys, let's talk about the news. I am actually, I'm fully elated right now that I got something to work on the internet. It has been quite the journey. Guys, this week in the news, we're going to stick to only the good news, because there's plenty of darkness, there's plenty of badness, there's plenty of awful going out in the world, but this is a place for goodness, so let's talk about all the good stuff going on. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the fact that in the world we live in, DC Comics is donating $250,000 to help comic stores and comic creators. That is a giant, beautiful thing they're doing. I actually can't even imagine what it's like to be on the comic book side of things right now. I know it's bad for entertainers. I know it's awful for streamers. I know it's bad for people in my journalism movie industry. But being in the comic book side, they don't know how soon comic stores are going to reopen. They don't know if customers are going to come back because it's hard. I've been talking to a few comic store owners, and basically you're dealing with people that are used to being Wednesday warriors not having a Wednesday to go to. So that's a really tricky time. Who knows what that means long term? Who knows what it means for the ramifications of comic book stores? But I really think it's amazing that DC Comics is putting up $250K to make sure things work out and we can keep on going. So I think that's really rad. Jim Lee is also doing directly. Jim Lee is donating 60 different sketches. Jim Lee is going through and making sure all of his stuff gets out there, and he's donating all of it to this one big fund. Rob Liefeld, another image guy, is doing a giant contribution to individual stores. What he's doing is he's doing a sketch on his Instagram and then putting it up on eBay, and then the money goes directly to the comic book store. So what's really cool about that is he's helping the individual stores that reach out and the ones that he knows and loves, so those stores can pay their employees, those stores can pay their mortgages, those stores can stay open. I think that's so rad. So that's another way people are helping out. Speaking of image, Todd McFarlane is saying an amazing way to do this all is a different tactic where you'd get the four biggest people in comic books. You get your Marvel, you get your DC, you get your Dark Horse, and you get your Image, and you do a big crossover. So he's pitching a Batman, Spawn, Spider-Man crossover. Do it digital only, which you guys know my thoughts on digital, but that way you've got comics that are basically still coming out to keep people in the habit, and then have that same book crossover and do something for comic book stores after. So he's worried about the actual habit of comic books. He's worried about the actual part of the process where comic books are a process. Like you have a weekly books you're used to reading. He's worried about nerds jumping on, streaming services and video games and falling out of love with comics. So Todd McFarlane is pitching a giant Batman, Spawn, Spider-Man book, so you tie in all of those things and then basically do that as a digital comics to keep people in the habit of reading. So I think there's a lot of options. I think there's a lot of things you can do. I think it's a really interesting time because obviously nothing like this has ever happened before. So I don't know if you guys know, but I'm trying to help out individual comic book stores and do basically bring awareness to the stores that I personally support. You guys know Golden Apple and I are good friends. I don't know if you saw my video on Twitter and YouTube, but they're doing this really cool thing where for $50 shipped, including shipping, so $50 even, they will send you $100 worth of comics directly to your door. You literally open your door, open the comics. It's the safest thing ever, and it's not just a general carte blanche $100 worth of comics. You give them the theme, you give them characters you like, you give them ideas of things you enjoy, and they build a box around that. So if you want to check out my Instagram, there's actually a video on my YouTube as well of Ryan over at Golden Apple building a box. So it was a sci-fi box, and they went through and they put all those things together to make that happen. And I think it's a really cool really smart way to keep us in the loop. So a bunch of stores doing stuff like that. You can get your comics shipped from House of Secrets, which is another one of my favorite shops. Larry over in Lowell, Massachusetts is pulling books and shipping them out to people. Larry's been doing it mobile for a long time. So I'd recommend reach out to Larry's Comics, reach out to House of Secrets, reach out to Golden Apple, who has a special and all the regular books, and they'll help you out. And tell them I sent you, they'll give you a deal. They're amazing shops. It's so important we keep shops open. It's so important that we keep these pieces of our pop culture thriving and alive so we can do this thing. I also want to say on my own perspective on everything, I think it's really important that both digital comics and print comics exist simultaneously. I personally read them both ways. I get digital comics for spatial reasons because I run out of room for actual books. But I think the print medium is so important because it employs comic book shop employees. It employs the people that are doing the shipping. It is the resale value. It's the collector's market. It's so much more than just print. Comic books are meant to be in print on paper. There's an experience of reading them in your hand. There's an experience of the tactile nature of comic books. And I'm going to talk about that more later, but I'm going to talk about some actual print comics because I'm going to do something with you guys, I think this weekend or next week. This is from Max on his 18th birthday. I'm going to talk about that later on the show, but print comics are so important to me. And I think I'm going to do a video going through my collection with you guys. I've got 4 long boxes here. I've got about 37 on the East Coast. I've got 3 different shelves on bookcases of comics. So I'm thinking one at a time. We'll do a video of one of my long boxes. We'll flip through. We'll talk about my favorite issues in there. I'm going to start with my Silver Age Spider-Man collection, the ones that are on this coast. And it'd be kind of fun. So I think I'm going to do a live stream starting this weekend. We'll do like a comic book long box every weekend while we're in this madness of quarantine. And we'll flip through. We'll talk about all the different stuff. So I'm really excited to go through it with you guys. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a Coy-lection. We'll call it the Coy-lection episodes because I like puns. I'm going to check out the live chat, see what you guys are saying. As ever, I cannot always keep up with the live chat, so check out Streamlabs. I will check Streamlabs every 10 minutes or so to make sure there's nothing in there. And I will also be checking on my Patreon stuff over there. Also, Patreon is moving and grooving. I'm doing the beginnings of my videos for that stuff, so we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode, because if you're watching this later and you don't know who I am, you don't care about my Patreon. You want to know the news, maybe. So I'm going to get to that later. But stay tuned for Patreon updates. The live chat is saying, what do we got, live chat? I am very happy this worked. This is a new setup where I can send out links. Thank you, everyone in the Koi Pond getting here early. Let's see. Good on DC. I like that. Bring that crossover on. Comics go out is a good idea. Yeah. Batman Spawn and Moon Knight. I would take that in a second. That'd be amazing. Why does this only have 6 likes? I agree. Come on, guys. Also, I got an exclusive interview with Donnie Cates. That was my last video I just posted, and it's only got like 400 views. We talked his Thor run, we talked his Venom run, we talked Thanos, we talked why he loves comic books. We had this giant 35-minute conversation. It's exclusive to this channel of me at Amazing Comic-Con. 400 views. Come on, guys. Let's get that up there. If you guys haven't watched it yet, get over there. I very much appreciate it. Oh, dude, Caleb, I'm so sorry to hear that. Caleb in the live chat said my uncle owned a comic shop. He defaulted on his business loan about a month ago, and his store was seized by his bank, including all merchandise inside. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. That is heartbreaking. That's what we're trying to avoid with any of this. I wish I'd known. I wish I could have helped. That really sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. Like, truly. Garth McMurray, in Mass area, there's Larry's Comics, Kamikaze, Hub Comics, and more who will ship comics to you. My friends at Kamikaze even deliver them by hand themselves to people in the Somerville area. Garth, friend of the show, mentioned Kamikaze a bunch of times. I want to give Kamikaze some love. I want to give Garth some love. Check out getting comics delivered, handed to you in the Somerville area. Larry and the Kamikaze folk, great people. Do help them out. Do support them if you're in Massachusetts. Do I own any omnibuses? I do, in fact, own omnibuses. We'll go through that when we do the collection. Only have 1 long box. I've only got 40 or so, and I've been collecting forever. So 1 long box is great, man. That's where you start. Actually, no, I have way more than 40. I have like 70. Anyway, you start with 1. That's how it begins. It's great. You've got a long box. That's fill it up, get another one. I've also got some cleverness we're going to do with long boxes very soon, y'all. It's going to be weird. There's going to be some... Yeah, I've got a really funny long box idea that we're going to do as soon as possible. All right, so sorry I can't get to all the other questions. I'm going to jump over to Streamlabs because I saw somebody pop in there before we move on to the next story. Guys, I gotta say, it's been a week and 2 days because I forgot it was Tuesday, and I like straight up missed y'all. I've been running around, and then I missed Tuesday. Tuesday just didn't happen in my life, so I want to make sure I get to the Streamlab question, and I'm so glad to be here. PC donated, love your enthusiasm for comics, keep it up, hashtag KoiPond. Thank you so much, PC. We're gonna keep comics alive, very, very important. Also, guys, check out the new wall. I'll show you that on the Coy-lection video because I collect art as well, and we're going to talk about all that. There's an art collection right there. We're going to go through that. I'm excited for the Coy-lection series. That's another thing. This is the news. Let's get back to the news. All right. Also, in the news, I wanted to talk to you guys about the mega crazy release date shuffle. I don't know that anything has ever happened to this level in the entertainment industry. We've had, WGA strikes. We've had SAG strikes. We've had all these things. But there's always other industries moving. With the coronavirus, you can't be on set. You can't be around other people in an office. You can't be doing any of those things. So the entertainment industry has never had something of this caliber affect it. So I've never seen a release date shuffle to this level. It is absolutely insane. I want to go through some of the release date things with you. I'm so happy personally. I'm a movie theater guy. I think it's vital that movie theaters stay open. I think it's vital movie theaters stay alive. Just like with the comic book industry. There's a communal experience of the comic store. You go, you talk to your shop owner, you talk to other people in the store. There's a vibe there. There's nothing quite like a comic book store as far as personality types. Movie theaters are the same. It's church for agnostics, man. I'm not a religious man, but I get that religious feeling when I am watching like that scene there that's going around on Twitter right now with Thor. When Thor lands in Wakanda, or when Cap wields Mjolnir, those are moments of pure elation. Those are moments of pure joy. And sharing that with hundreds of people there's like nothing else. There's nothing like that feeling. So it's very important to me to keep movie theaters alive. I know there's people that are detractors. I personally am glad that all these movies are sticking with release dates, not going out and streaming. One, you'll never make your money back. If it's a $200 million movie, you're not going to make enough money on a streaming service. Straight up. It's just not going to happen. So these release date shuffling, I think, is totally fair. And also, the actual movie theater industry is so important. Indie theaters as well. It's vital. Like, it's when the world is safe again, please, as soon as it's safe, as soon as you feel comfortable, get out to small and big theaters alike. Support your AMCs, but also support your Lemleys. Support your mom and pop theaters. See everything you can, because these companies are going to be on their last legs. It's going to be really scary when the doors open again. But we'll talk about that more as they open and adjust. But they basically shifted all the MCU down a slot. So Black Widow took the Eternals slot. The Eternals took another slot. Shang-Chi himself, Simu Liu? How do you say his last name? Simu Liu? Simu Liu basically said now he's in a summer blockbuster. So instead of having a winter release, they're coming out the next summer, which I think everyone's staying positive is the way this is going to work. Let me talk about some of these release dates. Artemis Fowl is one of the theatrical movies that is now going direct to Disney+. It's a smaller budget. It's more of a children-aimed film, so it works while kids are stuck at home with their poor parents trying to deal with all that. It is a very different animal. Artemis Fowl makes some sense to go to streaming, but I'm really glad that the MCU and other things are staying in their respective houses. I'm also curious how Disney Plus delays are going to affect everything. But Mulan and Black Widow have landed in July and November respectively. I'm not sure about that Mulan July date. I'm not sure where the world's going to be in July. I don't personally think movie theaters are going to be back to being open, but time will tell. Artemis Fowl is going direct to Disney Plus. Let's see. Now, originally Mulan was March and Black Widow was May. They have moved those, like I just said, to July 24th for Mulan and November for Black Widow. Jungle Cruise is being pushed a full year to July 30th, 2021, and that's causing a domino effect everywhere. Black Widow is now on the November 6th date that belonged to Eternals originally. Now, Eternals is coming out on February 12th, 2021, which was previously Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi has moved to May 7th, 2021, taking over Doctor Strange 2 spot, which is now coming out in November 2021, which moved Thor, which was on that date, to February 2022. And Black Panther 2 is now a summer movie at February 6th, 2022. And Captain Marvel is moving up 2 weeks to July 8th, 2022. Now, you'll notice Spider-Man 3 is not on there. Now, Spider-Man 3's production's been delayed. Spider-Man 3 was originally supposed to come out between Doctor Strange 2 and Thor 4, because I thought it was funny that it was originally Shang-Chi 1, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man 3, Thor 4. Like, somehow Kevin Feige predicted even the order. They were coming out numerically, incredibly. But Spider-Man 3 now doesn't have a release date, to my knowledge. I'm assuming it's going to come out in the same realm of those movies. I assume in the chronology of the phase, that's how it's going to have to go. And we will see. Now, the only movie that moved up was Captain Marvel 2, which is now coming out in July 8th, 2022. It's crazy to think about it. That is very far away, but that is very important that these movies are still getting their time to shine theatrically, because that's how they're going to keep these budgets to be what they have to be. This is not a knock on the CW. What they're able to do with their budgets is incredible, but TV is just a different budget. Look at what the CW does with their 22 episodes spreading out the money versus what the MCU is doing with a 2-hour singular movie with all of the revenue of the actual box office. I don't want these $200 million budgets get knocked down to $50 million budgets. I'm curious what the budgets look like on Disney+. We know they're substantial, but they're going to be spreading it out over 8 hours versus 2 hours. So everyone's saying, like, just release things on streaming. It's not that simple. It's not the way it works. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. So we'll see. Artemis Fowl. We'll see how that does. They also announced this week, related, Disney Plus has passed $50 million, 50 million subscribers worldwide. But if you think about that, 50 million subscribers times $6 a month, that's only $300 million a month. That's kind of Exhibit A of where that stands. $300 million a month would not pay for these kind of movies to get made. That's not how that's going to work, plus all the other infrastructure, everything else in the Disney Plus thing. So even at their peak, which they got to very, very quickly with this 50 million subscribers, it's still not enough to have something as big as, say, your Black Widow or your Spider-Man. I see in the chat, Spider-Man 3 is not going to stay in July. No, I'm not saying it's going to stay in July. I'm saying I think it's going to stay in between Doctor Strange 2 and Thor 4. So I'm saying it's going to come out probably in the 2020, late 2021, early 22. It's not saying in July. There's no way in hell. I'm saying it's going to stay where it is in the phase. But it's not announced, so I'm not sure. That's my theory, is that it belongs in that slot storyline-wise. On the other side of Disney, Fox, Free Guy is their big summer event movie of July 3rd. Has been pushed to December 11th, which makes sense to me. It's summer and winter. Those are the big seasons. So that's the Ryan Reynolds comedy that looks great, the big action comedy. It is now a December movie on December 11th. Apparently, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story is staying on December 18th, and The Last Duel is still on December 25th, which is interesting because last I heard, The Last Duel's production was stopped, and I don't think they're finished filming, so we'll see how that December thing goes in general. Searchlight's Wes Anderson, The French Dispatch is leaving its July 24th date and is moving to October, which I actually think is better for that movie. That means that is now getting a festival/award season release date, which Wes Anderson is much more that flavor than a tentpole summer film. So I think that's actually a good move for The French Dispatch. We've also got Indiana Jones being moved a year from July 9th, 2021 to July 29th, 2022, a full year. So Harrison Ford will be the ripe old age of 32 by the time that movie comes out with Indiana Jones 5. We also are getting undated releases of The Personal History of David Copperfield, Antlers, Women in the Window, and New Mutants. There's no New Mutants date yet, but if any movie deserves a theatrical run, it is the octuple delayed New Mutants. I want to see a demon bear on the big screen. I want to see all of that large and excited. So I really want New Mutants to get a good date. I'm hoping it gets a spring 2021 date. Personally, I think it's going to be a good spring movie. I don't want it to come out in the summer where it's crowded. I don't want it to come out in the winter with Oscar movies. I think it's a good spring film. So it was supposed to come out last week this year. I think it should come out this time next year in a less crowded marketplace. But by the time this is all over, who knows? All these summer movies might get stacked into the spring. Like, if everything's all densely stacked up, I could see this all really getting tiered up and making next spring really packed, because I don't know if the theater's going to be open late summer. I don't think they're going to be open early summer. I don't think they're going to be open late summer. I think it might be fall. So I could see everything just kind of getting consolidated and shimmying to the spring next year. We'll see. All right, that is the mega release date shuffle update. As things get announced and move, I will keep you guys posted. Also, yes, Scott Welsh. Ryan Reynolds has been an absolute saint during all of this madness. He has been completely like the best version of any of us. He's Mint Mobile is giving out free data. 30% of Aviation Gen's profits are going to bartenders that are out of work. He's been on Twitter interacting with everyone because he's stuck at home. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's putting his mouth where his mouth is, and he's being the best. I have so much love for Ryan Reynolds, and he's running this coronavirus situation as best he can, and I've been really impressed. What a good dude. Over in the Streamlabs, we've got a bunch of these. SmakTalk 9, before I even read this, SmakTalk is a champion of the comment. Hey Coy, I have a shameful admission question for you. Since I haven't read a single comic book, which ones would you recommend I read first? SmakTalk, I respect the hell out of you, and I respect your honesty. So that's double respect. I would start with Ultimate Spider-Man. I think Ultimate Spider-Man is one of the most accessible comics of all time. It is 2000, the year 2000. Brian Michael Bendis, Mark Bagley. Start with issue 1. It came out right when they were trying to revitalize Marvel Comics. There wasn't a lot of hype around comics at the time, so this comic changed the structure of comic books. It's a big reason the MCU exists. It's a big reason the type of movie the MCU exists. It spun off into Ultimate X-Men and Ultimates, which also shaped the storylines that moved things forward, but the most important thing is it's a retelling of classic 60s and 70s Spider-Man storylines in modern day. So you'll get to feel like you've read a lot of comics at once. You'll get to catch up on a lot of major storylines at once. Ultimate Spider-Man is a great summation of so many big stories, and it runs 133 issues with the same team. It's Art Thibault, Mark Bagley, and Brian Michael Bendis, so it'll feel familiar throughout. It's the longest running creative team in the history of comics, I think, to my knowledge. So please check out Ultimate Spider-Man. On the DC side, I'd say Batman Year One is a great storyline. It's only 4 issues, so it's really accessible. I'd say Scott Snyder's Court of Owls if you want something more recent. It's a very recent run that's really accessible. I would say if you're into darker comic books, Mr. Miracle is only 12 issues, and it's going to be... You'll recognize other characters, but it's very grounded and dramatic. It's more like a drama TV show. And if you want something like a sci-fi epic, if you're not into the comic, like the tights thing, Saga. Saga feels like Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars. It's a space opera with love and rival factions and war, and there's so many incredible characters, and there's a lot of really good stuff. And if you're a thinker, Watchmen. Watchmen's one of the smartest comics ever. So I would say Ultimate Spider-Man for tights that are very accessible. Batman Year One or Court of Owls for DC that's very accessible, that'll break you into the DC world. If you're into drama, I would say Mr. Miracle. If you're into think pieces, I would say Watchmen. And if you want something that's like a space opera, if you're into high fantasy, I would say Saga. Those are my 5 recommendations if you've never read a comic book. I hope that works. So, thank you for the question, and as ever, thank you SmakTalk for being rad. Garth Harkness McMurray, what up? I agree that theater is very important. Patty Jenkins was right that Wonder Woman 1984 deserves to be seen on the big screen. If it can't come out in August as planned, I would be okay waiting until summer 2021 rather than have it going streaming. You're goddamn right. No, I don't think Wonder Woman should ever be streamed. It is a giant tentpole experience. I don't want to see it on I have a decent sized TV. That's not how you see Wonder Woman for the first time. Like, no, completely agree. I would rather than wait until 2021 for any of these giant movies. When Marty Scorsese was coming out and saying that superhero movies were the death of cinema, I don't think he realized that they're the thing keeping cinema alive. You need to have big movies to have small movies have a place to go. If you're having 5 screens run Avengers, that helps the other 2 screens, however many screens, run dramas and smaller films. That they're both important to the ecosystem of filmmaking. It's just like a diet. Like, what you eat needs to be balanced, right? So what I consume, I try to consume as many fruits and vegetables as I do anything else, or more. So I would say the vegetables of tentpoles and blockbusters are as important so you can enjoy the sweets of the dramas that wouldn't get a theatrical release. And I hate that the balance is that different, but the food pyramid has restructured since the movies have changed. So it's really important to not mess with the biome and the ecosystem of movie theater releases, and Wonder Woman is one that is going to help lots of economy and help lots of things get you a lot of butts in the seats. So I completely agree, and I think it's really important. All right, let's go over to the news. I said that the 50 million subscriber mark was hit by Disney Plus, which is very exciting. They also added XMEN Avatars. If you guys are Disney Plus folk, you can now change your icon to an X-Men logo, which is so dope. It feels so good to have X-Men like represented in pop culture again. When they were owned by Fox and like nothing was going on, it was such a bummer. There was less toys, there was less merch. Now they're like slow rolling those things back out. We're gonna get awesome X-Men clothes. We're gonna get way more X-Men everything, and Disney Plus having those little avatars feels like the beginning of something really cool. Let's see. We talked about the 250K, which I think is rad. We talked about Rob and Todd. Do check out Rob Liefeld's auctions. Check out Jim Lee's auctions. Even if you can't, contribute financially, share them. Those are vital to keeping the comic industry going. And check out the interview with Todd McFarlane over on Newsarama. It's really rad. Speaking of interviews, Matt Reeves had a really cool interview about the Batman, and he was talking about how it's a humanist story. He was talking about how it is an origin adjacent story. We know it's not going to have the pearl. We think it's not going to have the pearls. But it's not going to be, it's going to be like a year two. So it's going to acknowledge the origin while also letting it breathe and be Batman. So this is an early days Batman without it being yet another origin story. So it's a really cool interview. Nerdist ran it, Collider ran it, a few different places have it. So check out the interview with Matt Reeves. He said a lot of things that make me very, very excited about the future of our time with the Batman on screen. Let's also click it over to Marvel Unlimited. Speaking of comic books and digital things online while you're stuck at home, one of the things I do love about Marvel Unlimited is these are older comics. So comics that are no longer going to be, the necessary thing to keep comic stores open are rad to read digitally, especially if you're trapped at home. I think Marvel Unlimited, not an ad, is a great system for reading comic books. Marvel Unlimited has expanded their free classic story collections for the month of April, and they're going to change it every month. So there's a certain amount of free comics you get on Marvel Unlimited every month, and they're going to change it every month during this pandemic to add more and more. So in April, the books you can read and should read: Avengers vs. X-Men, Civil War, Amazing Spider-Man Red Goblin, Black Panther by Coates, Thanos Wins by Donny Cates. Check out that interview on my channel. X-Men Milestones Dark Phoenix Saga, one of the classic comics. Avengers Kree-Skrull War, Avengers by Jason Aaron. Fantastic Four Forever, which is Volume 1. Black Widow, Volume 1, Shield's Most Wanted. Captain America Winter Soldier Ultimate. And Captain Marvel, Volume 1, Higher, Further, Faster, More by Kelly Thompson. So all of those comics I just read are completely free in Marvel Unlimited. You need no money. Jump over there, check them out on Marvel Unlimited, and then in 20 days when this month ends, it's the 9th? Yeah, 22 days when this month ends, you'll be able to get new comics in May. Marvel Unlimited, great system, great opportunity to read a lot of good stuff. Also, check out Comixology. Comixology has Saga, Volume 1 and 2. We're going to talk about that more later. Completely free. There's a borrow system, so if you're stuck at home and you've never read a comic, or if you're stuck at home and you need to catch up on classics, or if you're stuck at home and just want to know what the hell I'm talking about, Comixology and Marvel Unlimited have a lot of free stuff. Just check them out. And let me know what you're reading. I love to see tweets about what you're reading and what you're enjoying. It makes me so happy to see people reading comics. So that is the Marvel Unlimited stuff going on over there. Speaking of Marvel, Antman 3 got a writer this week. Jeff Loveness of Rick and Morty and also tons of comic book fame is writing Antman 3. Now, I'm super excited about this because he gets the tone and the world of Antman. His comics are very funny, they're quippy, they're self-aware. Obviously, Rick and Morty is all of those things. I think he's going to get the tone of Antman right. I love that Antman kind of feels like its own little corner of the universe, just like Guardians of the Galaxy does. So I'm really curious about his take on Antman, how it's going to be its own thing. The last draft we heard about, we found out that Paul Rudd originally wanted to include Modok and AIM. Now, AIM are these ridiculous agents that wear these yellow, crazy science suits, and they're crazy techie scientists, and they've been alluded to as far back as Winter Soldier. But we've never seen like an AIM agent, and I imagine if we're going to see something that ridiculous and cartoony, Ant-Man's where it belongs. So that's exciting, and I wonder if they'll use any of that in this Jeff Loveness draft. Probably not, because they mentioned that it was a past tense. And then Modok is a machine only designed for killing. He's a giant head. He floats around. He's preposterous. He's Modok. That's the thing the Russo brothers said they wanted to include that was the most preposterous. Everyone's talked about Modok for years. I'd be fascinated to see it. He's one of John Schnepp's favorite characters. There's a lot of love for Modok in my heart. Schnepp loved him so much that it definitely affected my opinion of the character. So I'd love to see Modok. Maybe that will be a thing in Ant-Man 3. It was apparently mentioned in the last draft that Paul Rudd worked with, so I'm really curious. All right, I'm going to flip over to the live chat real quick before I keep going on with the news. Thank you for all the thumbs up, love. Oh, binge reading Saga. Hell yes, a heel. That is very exciting stuff. Let's see. He's talking about hockey. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds has been killing it. Merc with a heart. Oh, I love that hashtag. He's a saint that also has a dirty mouth, which I respect. Like, I think that Ryan Reynolds being such a balanced piece of madness makes me feel more sane because, like, you know, Deadpool right there feels like me. I try to be a really good person, but I also like really dark and depraved things as far as comedy and like, I think a dick joke is as important as being a good person. Let's see. Batman, one of the best this new decade. I totally agree. No more origin story. We have seen enough. Adam Driver to a superhero property. I don't think he will either. Ant-Man 3, people talking about the AIM Beehive, Modok, hell yeah. Ant-Man 3, we'll see what it's called. Ant-Man, then Ant-Man the Wasp, Ant-Man the Wasp and Friends. Who knows? All right, give me all the likes. Thank you, Scott Welsh. All right, I caught up in the live chat. Let's go back over to the news. I am a huge proponent for hosting. Who knew? It's what I want to do for a living. It's what I kind of do for a living while there's no news to host on, but here we are. I think that late night talk shows are so important and they're shit on a lot. I think bringing credibility to pop culture is what I want to do for a living. It's what I am doing for a living, but it's the big end goal. Like, when I die, I want to have restructured people's take on what pop culture is. I hate that the fact that something's popular suddenly makes it less than. I hate that the fact that when an artist does well, they're suddenly shit on. I hate that shit. I hate it. It's bullshit. So, talk show hosts often have to go for stupid headlines. I hate clickbait journalism. I hate all that. But the importance of the talk show is humanizing people that are on, screen in ways that feel removed. It's showing you that these people in your movie theaters and in your homes and on your TVs are people. It's so important. And I love the human side of entertainment. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal is my favorite actor. Like, growing up, it was him and Heath Ledger. And Jake Gyllenhaal, doing that episode of Comic Book Shopping, I was so like, and then, like, the coolest dude. And we had so much in common. We had great conversations. And he's a dude. He's a person. I actually liked most of our talks off camera even more than the ones we had on camera because we got to both just, like, be. Jake is rad. And that's something you get from these intimate interviews, these one-on-one interviews you don't get from, performances on screen. So I hate that the Oscars don't have hosts. I hate that these big award shows are just not having that part of the equation. It feels disjointed. It feels less guided. Hosts are an important part of the entertainment industry. I'm biased as fuck, obviously. I couldn't be more biased. I want to host The Tonight Show. I will host The Tonight Show. The Tonight Show is my goal. It's mine. I'm coming for it. So, this news made me very happy. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel are teaming up to host a One World Together at Home special to raise awareness and money for the coronavirus. This is something that I always loved that people do in times where we need to bring people together and entertain. I think it's vital for people at home to have this hub and to have this awareness because we're getting so much negativity. We're inundated with awful that I think that in these times we also need to balance that with positive. So COVID-19 having a special to raise awareness and money for the people on the front lines that actually need it more than anyone else, to have a special hosted by these titans is incredible. And the mega conglomerate networks are all teaming up. ABC, CBS, NBC, they're all doing it together. So there's a 2-hour program on April 18th. So it's the 9 days from now. Next week, late next week, at 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time is going to be a global broad entertainment special to celebrate the heroic efforts of community health workers and support the World Health Organization in the global fight to end COVID-19. I love this, man. I love when a telethon has a good purpose. I love when entertainment serves to help. And guests on this are insane. One World will be curated by Lady Gaga. It'll feature appearances by Alanis Morissette, Andrea Bocelli, Billie Eilish, Billie Joe Armstrong of Green Day, Chris Martin, David Beckham, Eddie Vedder, Elton John, Idris and Sabrina Elba. Also, Idris Elba getting better makes me so happy. I have so much love for Idris Elba, man. I'm so excited he's going to be here. I'm so excited he's well, and I feel like he gave us more information and helped more during all of this than most government perspectives. John Legend, Casey Musgrove, Keith Urban, Kerry Washington, Lizzo, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, the cast of Sesame Street. This thing is huge. I am so excited. I love all the hosts being a part of it. I love the networks teaming up. I love what this represents and what it's for. So please check out that event. It's going to be airing on every network. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on like Nat Geo. It's going to be on every channel. Check it out. I think it's a rad cause. I think it's a really cool thing they're doing. And that's going to air on the 18th. So on the 18th, mega hosting team up. That's what I wrote down. I wrote mega host team up. And then I just grabbed all that information for you guys. I think it's so rad. It makes me really happy. It's the opposite of the Oscars, where it's 3 hosts instead of 0 hosts. Get them hosts. Now, back to the news. The news of Birds of Prey 2 this week that made me really excited was it's like we're going to have a Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy romance in the Birds of Prey sequel, and I love that idea for so many reasons. One, I love the take of Harley Quinn going on her own little adventures and it feeling like a Harley Quinn universe where we see what she's up to. I think that's fun. I loved the flavor that was the madness of Birds of Prey. And I think Poison Ivy needs more solo love. I think she deserves her own time. Like, she's a fascinating character. She's got such interesting dynamics with so many characters in the DC universe. I think her as a love interest with Harley is a fantastic way to give her like 50-50 billing or close to it. And I think that it's about time. Like, why haven't we had Poison Ivy since Uma Thurman? Like, it's time to have Poison Ivy on screen. So Kathy Inn said she basically wants a Poison Ivy Harley Quinn romance, which would mirror the comics. I love their relationship in the comics. She said, quote, "I would love to see Poison Ivy, and I would certainly love to see the relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy." End quote. It's a real quick quote, but I'm real excited about it. So that was Birds of Prey 2 news this week. As you guys know, I am a big Birds of Prey fan, so I really want to check that out. Time will tell. Oh, we got more Streamlabs. Another one just popped up. PC says, favorite albums. My all-time favorite is Weezer's Pinkerton. Ooh, Jesus. Favorite albums. Good God. I am a huge fan of Childish Gambino's Camp. I think it's one of the best albums ever. I'm a big fan of Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP. I'm a big fan of La Sestercisto and Astro Creep from White Zombie. I think Astro Creep by White Zombie is one of the best albums of all time. Marilyn Manson's Hollywood. Tupac's All Eyes on Me. That's a double album. I don't know if that counts as 2, but it's a double album, so it should be 1 album. All Eyes on Me is perfect, both albums. Man, this is a really hard question. Those are just some of the ones off the top of my head. I think that's gonna be like, that's 5, right? I think those are my like top 5 albums. Those are like consistent go-tos of like, I need a warm blanket of good music. I'd say those are my like big 5. Yeah, that feels good. That feels like I'm not missing anything that like is an A plus. Like, those are the ones that I wouldn't change a track on. I wouldn't do anything to. Yeah. Okay. Hope that was an answer. Sorry. Music is so important to me, and I never get to talk about it because that's not like my wheelhouse. So whenever a music question comes up, it feels like way bigger because I'm usually talking about comics. So it's like comics and movies. But albums, I would say those. Check any of those out. Let me know what you think. I think they're iconic and important. Back to Zen News. I joined CENTR this week, by the way. I wanted to talk about CENTR because I think it's a really, really cool app. It's Chris Hemsworth's fitness app. But it's not just physical health. It's also mental health, and it's also diet health. It is recipes. It is at-home workouts as well as gym workouts, but currently the at-home workouts are being highlighted. And it is meditation and sleep visualization. So it is this really, really cool app. Again, not an ad. They're not paying me to say any of this shit. That it was free for 6 weeks, so I joined because I am broke in the pandemic. So when I saw free, and it's something I've been following forever, and I was like, yeah. So I leapt on that free shit. It is really cool because you can work on your mental health. The guided meditations are great. It's from a bunch of different series of voices. Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi actually just did 2. I haven't listened to yet for kids, which I think is cool because kids trapped at home right now. I literally cannot imagine being a parent. Any of you that are parents that are watching this, I tip my hat to you. Like, seriously, you're superheroes. That is quite the task you're under. You're raising your kids at home while also, teaching and being around them 24 hours a day and also trying to live your lives. Like, seriously, hat tip. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so there's guided meditations with Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi. There's workouts that are intermediate, advanced, and regular. I mean, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, so you can follow different types of formats for workouts. I've done a couple of them, and they're fantastic. It also has crazy recipes. Now, I just moved, so my kitchen is not set up. So I've been cooking very minimally, so I haven't tried any of the recipes yet, but they sound delicious. I need to get my kitchen figured out so I can get on those recipes. So if you want a good all-around fitness app, check out CENTR. I was really impressed, and it's really, like, hands-on. It's really, like, you don't need to know fitness to get a lot of it. And a lot of times those fitness apps are very, very complicated in the way they assume you know more than you do. Coy means Idris Elba. Who's Idris Elba? What are you talking about? Okay, I'm going to be jumping around in the live chat real quick and see what you guys have to say, because I missed it in between the last two things. Schmodown questions. I am so inundated with the world falling apart, I have not been able to dive into Schmodown stuff nearly as much as I need to. But that said, I do have some ideas, and there are some people I've been texting with that if they work out, they would be very, very good. Trevor asked, since Mara can't play for a bit, unfortunately, is there a player for the Inner Geekdom that I'm looking at? There is a player for the Inner Geekdom I'm looking at, and I might have been tweeting with him online, and you guys might have seen that interaction, and I might have followed up with this man, and he might have said, yeah, after the pandemic, let's figure it out. So I can't say officially, because who knows what's going to happen between now and then, but I can say that it'd be great, and he's lovely, and I'm a fan of his, and we get along great, and I think he'd be a good Inner Geekdom player. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Fingers are crossed very tightly for that. James asks if I could pick a musician to do the score and soundtrack for Saga, who to be. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I think, would make a dope score for that world. I love their soundtracks. I think they're great. We will see. We will see. I don't know what you're talking about, live chat. That name you're tossing around in there might be the person. Yeah, still surreal. Okay, we also got some video game news this week. 3 pieces of video game news. I know y'all are big gamers. A lot of you are, so I'm trying to include gaming in my coverage. I'm also trying to become a gamer. I've got a PS4 sitting over there. I've got 8. I've got 8 games. I own 4. I borrowed 4. I own 5. I got another game recently. I own 5 games. I've only played one of them. I've only played Spider-Man on PS4, and that is why I own that console. Unfortunately, I have not had the time. Even in the pandemic, I am somehow behind. I don't know how. I don't know if you guys are feeling this, and I want to make mental health a bigger part of the conversation of this show, especially under quarantine. I feel overwhelmed and bored simultaneously all the time. I feel like I have so much to do and nothing to do at once. I feel like this oppressive what is going on anxiety while also being like, why am I worried? It's exhausting. So I don't know if I'm doing too much, if I'm not doing enough. I don't know if I'm making checklists. I'm keeping track of my stuff. I'm writing accomplishments every day, which is probably the thing that's helped most, by the way. If you guys are struggling with every day feeling the same, and if you're struggling with the weird malaise of all this, I'm writing down my accomplishments every day, and then some days are bigger than others, and that's okay. If I only accomplish 1 or 2 things, sometimes that's fine. If it adds up to every day being that, maybe not. But like the days I have 7 accomplishments, I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm really picky of myself, so those are usually pretty big accomplishments. So, like when I run 4 miles, that counts as an accomplishment. I feel good about it. I did that thing. So, I'm trying to run 10% more. Anyway, my point is, try to be kind to yourself. Write down what you're doing. Try to be realistic. And try to take care of you during all this, because it's really hard. That said, I've never been able to give myself the free time to game. I played Spider-Man, but I was doing it for work, and I loved it. So I've wanted to game for a long time. I owned Spider-Man. I owned the Deadpool game on PS3 because I got it at a yard sale for $5, but I didn't have a PS3. Now that I have a PS4, I finally got Deadpool on PS4. I think I'm going to start a Twitch channel and play through that, because I can do comic book commentary while playing the game, and since I'm not a gamer, hopefully you guys are patient. But I'm going to try to play Spider-Man and Deadpool on Twitch, because those are 2 games I actually have stuff to talk about instead of just seeing me suck at gaming. I also have Second Son, infamous Second Son. I've got The Last of Us, and a couple other things, and I borrowed a couple Metal Gear games from my friend. I also borrowed Arkham Knight from my buddy Jake Lloyd, who I'm doing Dragon Wagon with. Jake does Dragon Wagon, which is where I do the Koicast. If you guys are enjoying the Koicast, let me know in the chat. I've been loving doing it. Please share it. Anyway, my point. I'm going to start a gaming thing next after I do collections of stuff and everything else, we're going to get into gaming, so I want to include more gaming coverage. That was a very long journey to me telling you this gaming news. For that, I apologize. Deadpool is now available in Fortnite, or was. Apparently he's been taken off. I don't know, but Fortnite is not a game I know, but I saw Deadpool, got excited. Deadpool, Fortnite, and the Iron Man VR game has been indefinitely delayed. It makes sense. You need a big rollout. You need beta testing. I can't imagine you can do a lot of VR testing with the world the way it is. So it's not been canceled, but it has been delayed indefinitely. That was a big game for VR. I'm very excited to see where that does end up landing. It is a very tricky time in the world of all pop culture, but PlayStation is doing a really cool thing where they have a ton of games 50% off for this big spring sale. So don't go out. Don't go to GameStop. Don't go in public. Get your games online, because that's apparently how games work. I didn't know that. You can just download them. When you have a disc, it's not the game anymore. It's like an unlock code. I thought I plugged in a game and I got to play, but then you have to load the thing. I'm an old man. So it's really, really rad what they're doing over at the world of PlayStation. I'm real hype about it. Okay, let's see. What games do I have? Oh, I did those. Okay, I answered your question without even knowing it. Oh, Idris Elba was an accidental answer to this promoted by Mark and Draco when he meant Idris Elba. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's really funny. I missed that. That must have been like this week's stuff, because I'm way behind. Like I said, way behind on Schmodown stuff while in quarantine. Let's see. Do I have any other cool masks? No, the Venom mask I have from Comic-Con. That was dumb luck. I was very worried about going out in public and not having a mask, and then I happened to have my Hall H mask still from Comic-Con 2018. So I was very lucky that Venom mask was in my possession already. Wow, we've already been at this for like 45 minutes. I need to make sure to cover everything I do. Let's see. SmakTalk SmakTalk, thank you. Thank you, man. Dude, holy shit. Now that the music door has been opened, what do you listen to while working out? Music, audiobooks, podcasts, etc. Okay, SmakTalk. That was an incredible donation. Holy shit, thank you. So much so that I'm actually going to give you are gifting everyone in this chat. I'm going to go into my Spotify and I'm going to read you my top stuff. Like, you literally... guys, SmakTalk just contributed $100 to my Streamlabs. Thank you, bro. That's literally going to help me pay for my internet this month, which I was worried about paying. That's how I can do the show. You were allowing this to happen. Thank you. Sincerely. Holy shit. Let's pop over my Spotify, and I'll tell you what I listen to when I work out. Podcasts I usually listen to when I'm driving. I usually don't listen to podcasts when I run. I need a beat. I need something like with some energy in it so I can actually like motivate myself. Audiobooks I really struggle with, to be honest with you. I like holding books. I like the feel of paper in my hands. I actually don't even have a Kindle because I couldn't get into it. I didn't feel like I was reading. I need books, so I'd rather go to the library and borrow a book and have it be on the wait list for 6 weeks than read digitally, personally. So audiobooks, unless the author is really charismatic, like Nick Offerman or someone like that, it usually goes in one ear and out the other. I struggle with that. I'm actually working on it, because that's a great way to consume information. I'm just bad at it. Podcasts, I do listen to the occasional podcast. I enjoy the Joe Rogan Experience. That's probably my main podcast. I listen to Brian Callen. I listen to Bill Burr's podcast, his rants, mainly for comedy, but like I enjoy his world perspective. So Rogan, Bill Burr, Brian Callen, mainly stand-up, like the world of comedy. Music! Let's dive on in. This music deep dive is brought to you by the incredible generosity of SmakTalk. Let's see here. My library. My top songs 2019 will give you an insight into what I listen to a lot. Yellow Wolf. Huge Yellow Wolf fan. Giant Yellow Wolf fan. I think he's so slept on. White Zombie. The Game. Machine Gun Kelly. Avicii. Raphael Cassell. Dude, Raphael Cassell. Rafa. He's one of David Diggs' friends. He is one of the best rappers that isn't talked about. He is a deaf poet, Def Poetry Jam. He's a brilliant follow on Instagram. He's wicked funny. He's creative as hell. He's smart. His worldview is fantastic. He's a helper. He's one of those people that really just helps. He cares. He's invested. He's an artist. He's a poet. He's brilliant. He makes great music. He's a great dude. Raphael Cassell is probably one of the sleepers on this list. He's in my top 10, and no one... He needs more. He needs more love. That's spelled Rafael, but Cassal. Raphael Cassell. He's dope. Avicii, man. Avicii made me understand that type of music. I didn't understand the electronic music until Avicii. He to me is like the Mozart of that sound. Like he really just brought a mainstream sensibility with depth to electronic music to me. Like just for me personally, I'm a big Avicii guy. Machine Gun Kelly, I love his old stuff. I like his new stuff. His newest few tracks have been great, but there was like a middle section that it wasn't for me. It just wasn't my sound. I'm a big MGK fan for the first 3 albums. Logic, Tech 9, Rise Against, Jidenna. Dude, Jidenna, another one. Check out Jidenna's album that I discovered it through, well, right before Luke Cage. Then he was suddenly in Luke Cage, and I was really happy. Jidenna is incredible. Like, there's such powerful... How do we even describe Jidenna's music? There's such heart and soul and compassion in the beat and the lyrics. So there's just so much emotionality in Jidenna's work, and then the beats are dope. Like, Jidenna's fantastic. Childish Gambino, Echo, my homie Echo, EKOH. He's an indie rapper, and he's a nerd, man. He is a nerd and a half. He's a friend now, which is rad. He raps about comics and pop culture. He's got a song called Pickle Rick that's fire. He's dope, man. He's a Las Vegas-based rapper, and he's gonna be huge, man. I love Echo. Who else is on here? Travis Barker, like a drummer from Blink-182, is everywhere in hip-hop right now. I love his acapella beats. I love his work. J. Cole, Idris Elba, great DJ, man, does a lot of great work. Slipknot, Eminem, E40, Mudvayne. I had listened to Mudvayne a lot last year. Interesting. Mikey Mike, Rob Zombie. Okay, that was like 20 artists, I think. That's like an insight into what I listen to when I go running. I hope that helped. Weezer's in here. I'm a big Weezer guy too. And then so that was last year. That's what I was listening to. And then if you go to my Made for Coy, like my daily mix, I've been on a Mac Miller kick lately. I've been sad and I've been like aggressive, so his happy music helps lift me up. When I'm sad, it helps me find my level. Mac Miller, I think, is fantastic. The Game's newest album is one of the best albums I've ever heard. The Game's new shit is fucking incredible, and I was already a giant Game fan. I've been trying out G-Eazy. Let's see. I'm a huge Halsey guy, so I'm trying to like G-Eazy because I like their song Together, and I think Halsey's incredible. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm going to click over the live chat and see if you guys are just bored out of your mind about me ranting about music. Yeah, I miss Avicii too, Sahil. Okay, you guys don't seem to be losing your mind. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's what I listen to. It's like, I'd say 75% hip-hop, 20% rock, 5% the rest. Like, so electronica and pop are probably that 5%, and then 20% rock, mindless self-indulgence. I'm trying to think of the other music that I didn't mention yet. Yeah, so like faster, harder rock, like Marilyn Manson, White Zombie, mindless self-indulgence. I love The Prodigy, love Crystal Method, and then there's a lot of hip-hop, mainly hip-hop guy. All right, hell yeah. Dude, SmakTalk, thank you. Like, sincerely. I hope that answers your question. So when I'm driving, podcasts. When I'm focusing, I try to listen to audiobooks, but I struggle. Music is such a big part of my life. I listen to more music than anything, and I'm actually usually listening to music when I'm home. I listen to music when I'm cleaning. I listen to music when I'm walking. I've been trying to take a run and a walk every day in this pandemic. When I'm walking, I listen to slower stuff. When I'm running, I'm listening to faster stuff. I've been walking around LA just like beats on and just trying to experience the vibe. Because the city's got such a different vibe right now. It feels different, and I'm trying to see the positives in it. I'm always an optimist, so I'm trying to see this as a clean slate, like where the air is better. The air in LA is the cleanest of any major city in the world. That's insane. So the fact that I'm getting to experience this while physically being here and walking around is really unique. So I'm adding a soundtrack to it, you know? So then running, I've been trying to like uplift my spirits and listen to stuff that really gets my heart rate up. And yeah, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. Also, SmakTalk, if you follow me on Twitter, tweet me and I'll send you a screenshot of what music I listen to. Like, I will send you a thing of like some of my favorites, because that really, dude, you literally, my internet's 120 a month, because what? And you just helped me get that covered. Thank you so fucking much. Seriously. All right, back to the news. Speaking of things, while you're around the house, we've got Netflix getting new movies in April. I've never done this kind of coverage before because I'm not usually that kind of guy, but there's less and less pop culture news, so I wanted to talk about the movies on Netflix I recommend for you, stay the fuck home, watch movies on Netflix. Don't leave the house unless you absolutely have to. Go out as little as possible. Watch shit on Netflix. My big recommendations on Netflix. Went through the whole list. These are my favorite picks. Lethal Weapon. Guys, I'm a giant Lethal Weapon fan. It is my favorite franchise that doesn't have superheroes in it, because yes, the Fast and Furious is a superhero franchise. Number 1, MCU, and then tied for second is Lethal Weapon in the Fast and the Furious franchise. And then third is probably The Dark Knight. My favorite franchises are right there, and Lethal Weapon is so slept on. I think it's better than Die Hard. I like it better than The Godfather. I like it better than most fucking things. Lethal Weapon's dope. Lethal Weapon 1 through 4 on Netflix right now. Watch them. Let me know what you think of them. It's like just before this generation. It like somehow got missed. It's so good. Social Network. One of the most prophetic movies of all time. The Social Network came out in 2010 and is the best horror movie about the present we have. Well, not maybe like the current present, but like our times. Social Network, Facebook changed the world. It's one of the biggest non-medical inventions of all time, and that movie knew it was going to be scary. I love this movie. Also, it's Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher. Like, what do you want? We've got Just Friends, Ryan Reynolds. Come on, the patron saint of keeping us sane and all this madness. Doing a great comedy. Him and Amy Smart, real good stuff. Minority Report. Minority Report's one of the best sci-fis about the near future I've ever seen. They were able to, it's not like accurate, but they were able to foretell a lot of what was coming. Colin Farrell and Tom Cruise acting their eyeballs out at each other. Great film. Steven Spielberg directed. And of course, Taxi Driver. If you've never seen Taxi Driver, now is a fantastic time. Taxi Driver's on there as well. And then Chris Hemsworth has a new movie come out on the 23rd I'm probably going to do a review on, because I can't go to the movie theater, so I'm going to review Netflix stuff. But I am very, very excited for all of that stuff on the Netflix. Over in the live chat, watched it last night. Hell yeah, Taxi Driver, that's rad. Paycheck movie or Minority Report? I think Minority Report for me. Have I tried my hand at video game voice work? I have not, but I had been meeting with a major... I'd been meeting with a toy company about doing voice work for a... How do I vague book this enough? For an animated version of stuff. And it was going well, and then the world ended. So I plan to get back into that, and I also am friends with a lot of voice people. Like, my friends all do D&D and voice work, and I don't, and I need to, and they could easily help me a little. So I'm probably going to start that after. That is very kind. Thank you. I will be diving into that pool next, because I'm trying to diversify all my stuff. Also, I wanted to read you guys through the release dates for movies opening in 2020 is insane. We did a lot of coverage on the release date shuffle earlier, so I'm not going to dive into it, but Slash Film has a movies opening in 2020 calendar of what hasn't moved yet, and it's fascinating just to look at what a release calendar looks like in the state of the world. So Slash Film's got a great article on that if you want to check it out, because holy crap, this is nothing like this has ever been this way. Now, I teased at the beginning of the show what I want to do with Coy-Lection and the Patreon. So I want to talk to you about what I'm going to be doing. Now, on this channel, will have a book club. I'm going to start it this week. This is the announcement of the book club. I announced it on my Coycast podcast. That's going to be... These two are the main places. I'm probably going to do about 5 to 7 minutes on the book here and 5 to 7 minutes on the book there. But if you're a patron... $10 and up, you get the patron-only podcast, and I'm going to be doing a deep dive in that motherfucker. So we're talking like 10 to 20 minutes on the book club and tons of other stuff. Like, it'll be a just for patron-only thing. So if you're into the books I'm doing, the book club is going to be everywhere. I'm not going to be charging for the book club, but if you want like the extended cut, the Snyder cut, then my Patreon's a good place to go. And I'm going to be doing Saga, because, guys, I got to do Saga. So I had read Saga digitally, which is crazy considering how much I love Saga and how much I love print comics. I could not afford to get Saga on print because I wanted to get the beautiful mega edition. I was gifted this amazing book this week. I am now the proud owner of a book that I have sold to more people on comic book shopping and more people that I don't even know. I didn't own Saga until this week, you guys. I was gifted Saga this week. This is an unopened, beautiful hardcover edition of one of the most important comics to me in the world, and it's finally mine. So, I want to read it with you guys. We're going to do issues 1 through 6 first. So, a week from Tuesday, next Tuesday, I'm going to be covering the first volume of This Bad Larry on this very channel. So, if you guys want to do this with me, Comixology has this right now. You can borrow the first 2 volumes for free. I would recommend you order it from Image, or better yet, order Saga from your local comic book store. If you order Saga from your local comic book store, I will retweet you, I will share it, I will spread the word. We're going to do hashtag Coy's Book Club, or no, let's do Coy Book Club, because I'm shameless. Coy Book Club is going to be the hashtag. It's going to be Saga Volume 1 through 6, because there are other comic book clubs. I want to make it unique. So Coy Book Club, shameless. COYMIC Book Club is going to be the hashtag. We're going to cover 1 through 6 next week. I'm going to open this week, and I'm so excited. We're going to dive into this together. If you want in, please partake. I want this hashtag everywhere. I'm going to be doing it audio, I'm going to do it video, and then I'm going to be doing extended takes and everything. We're going to read it 6 issues at a time. And then when that's done, when we're done with Saga, because it's up to issue 54, if we're still in this madness, the next book is going to be Y the Last Man. We're going to go through the first volume of Y the Last Man next, which is like 8 issues. So everything you guys want is currently available for free. I wanted to give you the heads up if you wanted to order these, because the shipping might take a while. Saga and Y the Last Man are going to be the first 2 books of the comic book club. Now, there's no new comics to pull, so I don't really have a pull list for you guys. This is usually where we do the reviews and the pull list. That's what the book club is going to basically replace. While comics aren't being printed, I'm going to be doing a book club with you guys. Now I'm going to check in the live chat if you think that is a dumb idea. Okay, good. They're excited. Good. The people are excited. All right, Sahil, thank you for the hype. Thank you for saying you want to hear my voice on toys. That's so rad. James, it is not the Masters of the Universe, but that would be dope. That is definitely being handled very well by Mr. Kevin Smith. I'm very excited for that Chris Evans show defending Jacob Garth. That looks so good. D23 Freed 91 is excited for the book club. Hell yeah. The Koi cut. Let's see. Garth, yeah, dude, the Wednesday club was so rad. I missed doing that show. I was only a guest, but it was a great show. Parks Review, Comic Book Club, I dig it. Hell yeah. Dr. Nitro's Musical Empire. Hey, what up, man? Sounds great. Okay, you guys are in. That is so rad. Wesley, I have seen the Joyner Lucas music video. I've also watched the coverage of Will Smith, Jaden, and Joyner. They did a Snapchat show. They all, talked together, through social distancing online. It was adorable. Joyner's one of my favorite new artists. Joyner's really good. His album's great. And his stuff with Eminem on M's new album is fantastic. So I'm a huge Eminem fan, which is making me a new Joyner fan. Eminem's in my top 3. Absolutely incredible. The Saga book will be my present from my mom's birthday money for me then. Aw, dude! That's amazing. Dr. Nitro, you're going to love it. We're going to have a great journey. So anyone watching this now, 55 of you in here, 53 likes. Holy shit, we're doing it. We've almost hit an hour. We have hit an hour. Let me go over to the Streamlabs, Garth. But yeah, do check out the Saga Volume 1. You can either do that for free digitally, or you have time to order it, and we're going to read 1 through 6. We're going to go over it next week like a book club. It's going to be dope. And then over in the Streamlabs, we got... You mentioned being a fan of Brian Callen. A comic connection for you. Brian used to date Patty Jenkins decades ago, and they have stayed good friends. My friend Sam Sheridan, who is married to Patty, starred alongside Brian and Warrior as MMA announcers. Dude, you want to know a crazy small world thing? I worked on... I'm sure NDAs have expired after 5 years. I worked on a pilot that never went. Back when I was an actor boy, so it was 7 years ago. And it was Gavin O'Connor and Anthony Sembakis, the writers of Warrior. And I was in the pilot, so I hung out with those guys a lot. And we went to a concert and Brian Callen came because he's friends with all those guys. And I got to know Brian a little. I don't know him, but I got to know him that week. I got to know him during the course of that week. And we got along like gangbusters. And I didn't put together that he was the guy from Warrior. I thought he was a stand-up. And then I watched Warrior again a year later and was like, oh, the stand-up is the guy that plays Brian Callen. My brain was one of those duh, it's right in front of you. And I'm a huge Brian Callen fan, and I didn't equate that he was in Warrior. So it's really funny that you mentioned the other guy in Warrior, and also the fact that, yeah, he was married. He dated Patty Jenkins? LA's this big. That is absurd. That is amazing. That makes me so happy. Thank you, Garth. That is a fantastic, fantastic thing. Dr. Nitro, thank you again for the contribution. Dude, thank you so much. Happy to bring good content. Happy to bring the positivity. I look forward to you reading Saga. Thank you for the stream. The Streamlabs, that every bit helps. That really means the world. The Super Chat, that's what I meant to say. Thank you for the Super Chat. That is fantastic. There are funny Brian Callen head sakes from Warrior on YouTube. That was the first movie I watched in my new apartment, was Warrior. I wanted to christen this place with, it's my favorite sports movie of all time, so I had to kick it off proper, because Warrior is magic. All right, let's get the last bit of news and make sure I covered everything looking at my sheet. So, if you don't want to do the book club, totally cool. The books I would recommend this week, my pull list will still exist. New to you comic book day. I recommend Saga 1 through 6, which we will be book clubbing. I recommend Why the Last Man 1 through 10. I just reread. I'm on issue like 35. I'm going to reread it all and then start the book club. So I'm reading Why the Last Man right now. I recommend Mr. Miracle, which if we're still in quarantine in like 20 weeks, I'll be doing Mr. Miracle next. And then Grant Morrison's Animal Man number 1 through 26. So my recommendations this week, my pulls are Saga, Why the Last Man, Mr. Miracle, and Grant Morrison's Animal Man. Those are going to be my pulls for the month of April. I'm not going to, that's a lot. So I'm gonna recommend those. We're going to book club each of those, starting with Saga. So if you guys want to be little honor roll students and get ahead of the curve, those are the next things we're doing. I'm going to run this book club for quite some time. While we're in quarantine, it's going to be every week, though. We're gonna be consistent. I am real hype for all this madness. Guys, I think we have reached the end of our show. 50 of you are still in here. Sahil, do watch Warrior. It is my favorite sports movie of all time. I like it more than Rocky, and I'm a huge Rocky fan. It's about MMA. I'm an MMA fan. That's my favorite sport, so it's very near and dear to my heart. It's Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. It's Gavin O'Connor and Anthony Tambakis. The cast is great. The movie's great. There's a lot of energy and emotion in it. Frank Grillo's in it. Frank Grillo, Frank Grillo stuff's going to be cool. Once this pandemic's over, Frank Grillo, real rad things to come. So read comics this week. Stay positive this week. If you haven't watched Some Good News, it is John Krasinski's channel on YouTube. It's only on episode 2. I ranted about episode 1 last week. I need to rant again about episode 2. Guys, Some Good News with John Krasinski. The SGN network is so important right now. You need to stay positive. You need to find the good in things. And it is a warm blanket and cup of hot chocolate combination in these trying times. There is so much good still out there. It's hard to see sometimes, but it is a great show. And it's Jim from The Office bringing it to you. Episode 1, he Skyped in Steve Carell, and they had a little The Office reunion. And then John Krasinski, who's friends with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and obviously Emily Blunt, his wife. Actually, I'm sure Emily Blunt and Lynn are friends, but anyway, doesn't matter. They helped a superfan celebrate Hamilton because she couldn't go because of the coronavirus, and they did a live Hamilton rehearsal on camera. They did a song from Hamilton on Zoom, and it was the most precious. I don't even know Hamilton that well. I'm a big Daveed Diggs fan, but I don't know Hamilton, and I was just crying openly because it was so beautiful what they did for this little girl. And then also all the good news they highlight. So it feels like what I'm trying to do on a bigger scale. I'm happily John Krasinski's entertainment correspondent for comic books and movies. I will be that little leg. I will happily, like that umbrella, if I can be just a piece of that, if I can be that for you, I mean, like not officially, but if I can be that for you and do what he's doing at SGN for comic books and movies, that is what I'm trying to do here. So it is so rad to see it done on a larger scale. So it's really rad. Check out SGN on YouTube. It's been a source of much positivity for me these last few days. I'm going to see if there's anything in the live chat that I need to make sure I get. Oh, dude, Community. I didn't talk about Community yet. Shit. I am loving Community, Scott. It's fantastic. The Paintball Season 2 episode is obviously one of the most important episodes of television because it started a $1 billion Marvel universe with the Russo brothers. I love the meta awareness of it. I love the episodes. I finally got my first 6 seasons and a movie nod. I talked about this in length on my podcast, so I'm going to try to put it at the top of the next Koi Cubed. I'll make sure to mention this madness. I'm also watching My Hero Academia for the first time, which I'm going to get a review out once it is. One of the things on my Patreon is if you're a high tier patron, you pick content I review. So someone picked My Hero because I don't usually watch anime. Nothing against it, I just don't usually watch it. So I'm watching it for the first time, and then once he says it's cool to post the review because it's just for him, but once he's cool with it, I'm going to post it for all you guys. So I'm very excited to dive into Community and My Hero, watching West Wing for the first time. Talk to Tom Taylor, like the comic book writer Tom Taylor, about not Westwood, damn it. I've spoken for an hour and 10 minutes and now I'm losing it. I was talking to Tom Taylor on Twitter about the West Wing, and then my brain was like, wait, Tom Taylor, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man's Tom Taylor, and I totally geeked out. The West Wing, My Hero Academia, and Community are all the things I'm watching right now, so I'm going to try to get some coverage for those on the next show, because I'm loving them. Yeah, thank you all very much. Sorry I lost the ability to speak at the end. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Koi Pond, for being a force of positivity. And as always, thank you, comic books, for existing. So much love, you guys.